What's going on, my fellow A-plussers? Welcome back once again to a brand new video. It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, coming through with a brand new video for you guys tonight on a Wednesday evening as we wind up ushering in a brand new Marvel Disney Plus series in Loki that went ahead and actually dropped earlier on today. And we're here to certainly go ahead and talk about it, guys. Our after show, if you will, our discussion panel that we're going to be having here. It's going to be myself and, of course, joined none other by Mr. Indy Uchiha himself. What's going on, Indy? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, man? Look, I'm excited. I'm really excited. After a disappointing episode of The Flash, Loki took me all the way off the ground and picked me back up.
I feel you there, man. No, I haven't watched the episode of Flash. I'm sorry you had to certainly sit through that. But yeah, Loki, I think, was an episode that certainly would pick anybody up, man. So it's good to have you here to certainly talk about it today, bro. There's a lot to certainly get into. This was the very first episode that we wind up having of the brand new Loki series. Certainly going to go ahead and try and be here live for you guys every Wednesday. Probably will stick around with the 9 p.m. Central Time, just to kind of give everybody the opportunity to watch the episode. So you can certainly expect, if not myself, maybe Indy, Stuart will probably be here from time to time. Who certainly knows? But one of us will definitely be here to go ahead and review this show for you on a weekly basis. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification so that when we do go live or drop brand new videos, you guys are certainly going to go ahead and get notified and certainly be involved. Do we have anybody? I thought we saw a comment pop up there. Who we got over there? AJ. What's up, AJ? Good to see you in here. Says Loki gives me hope that Marvel is trending in the right direction. I feel like Marvel's been trending in the right direction for a while, but I'm glad, AJ, that you're certainly on board with it, man. I'm glad that Loki is certainly giving you hopes that things are certainly changing when it comes to the MCU. Let me ask you, Indy, for me, when I watched this episode this week, I love just the whole new world that I feel like the MCU just wind up creating for us here. I felt like this was a great opportunity for the MCU to kind of showcase another plane of existence, I guess, that's out there in the TVA that we certainly didn't know about whatsoever, and to kind of see Loki thrust into just what they were able to create in here. I got for some reason, I got a mixture of like Men in Black meets Umbrella Academy meets Lost in the weird, funky Dharma type of way in regards to just the whole concepts of, timelines and multiverse and things like that. The idea that we have a whole organization that's devoted to that type of stuff. I thought it was really great world building for a brand new space in the MCU we hadn't seen before. What did you think about how this first episode went?
The world building, just the placement and getting grasped on where we at was done amazingly. They didn't take any time to really, set the bar for where we're going to be. When it first started off, I got Lost vibes, like off the bat. Waking up somewhere where you're not supposed to be, seeing natives that you don't know. Like, I immediately went, somebody watched Lost. And then when we got to the TVA, I got Blade Runner vibes.
Oh, okay.
So I was sitting up there. I was like, yeah, whoever's writing this is a movie and TV buff, because I swear I was just walking through different TV shows in my head. I got a little Indiana Jones vibe. It felt real Harrison Ford heavy to me. Like when I was watching it, and it was real cool. And they kept us with all little Easter eggs, and just Tom Hiddleston, right? This isn't the Loki that we're currently used to.
Right.
This is he played the original friggin' Avengers 1 Loki perfectly, like reset perfectly back into that character. And I just got to commend him, because that can't be something that's easy to do. And these so-called B-list actors and heroes that we have on these TV shows are out acting the people that are making the millions of dollars.
Yeah, we did have some really great performances in this episode for sure, man. But I agree. Tom Hiddleston, I think, is just one of those people that just has amazing range. And for him to be able to revert back to that classic Loki and just kind of see a new take on, just his range of emotions that Loki can certainly hit when he's faced with, certain things that he definitely is not expecting to learn about himself. I really love what Tom Hiddleston brought to this episode, honestly. And real quick, just a just the disclaimer: if you guys have not watched this episode, it is spoiler. We will be having a spoiler discussion here. So if you haven't watched the episode, please cover your ears and certainly come back and save this video, come back and certainly check it out. But we are definitely going to be getting spoiler heavy, to certainly say the least. But talking about the idea of who wrote this series, Indy, it was actually Michael Waldron. He's somebody that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks over at A Plus Hero Report about the idea of pay attention to this guy. Michael Waldron is certainly going to go ahead and leave a name for himself, not only on Marvel, but he's also set to go ahead and write the Kevin Feige produced Star Wars movie that we're going to be getting also. So when I go into this episode and I see the idea of immediately thrusting us into a whole new world and just crazy, great looking designs, honestly, also really cool, creative new tech that we've never seen before, like the restart little grenade that they have, or the restart of the timeline, I thought was pretty cool. The rewind mechanism was really neat. Also, they had some really cool, very innovative type of tech that I think just really separated itself to let yes, we're in completely different world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I like. They a lot of shows, when they're starting off like this, especially with established characters, they take too much time to get to the meat of what they did. They introduced us to what Loki we had, and then they didn't waste no time. They went straight into what was going on, and that's honestly while brandishing us with everything that was happening. They explained everything very, very well. Like they if you never watched an Avenger movie in your life, by the end of this first episode, you know exactly what Loki went through the entire MCU phase 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, it felt very, very recap heavy to a certain extent. But I love the idea that while it did feel kind of recap heavy, that we also had Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, who had great chemistry with each other, that I thought was doing great, kind of going back and forth to really kind of push Agent Mobius's sort of point that he was certainly trying to prove to Loki, and to kind of see Loki for the first time, right, actually watching that stuff, because he's never experienced this before, just seeing what his reaction to what his life certainly could have become, I thought was, again, another great performance by Tom Hiddleston. So even though it did feel kind of recap-ish, based off of what it pushes the Loki character to and the great performances, I didn't mind it whatsoever.
No, I didn't mind it at all. And I actually thought it was done very well, because it wasn't something that was done to seem to take place to make it easier to fill the episode out. Everything they did was done with purpose. And they made sure they humanized Loki very quickly.
Definitely.
Very quickly. And so it just seems like they know they only got 6 episodes, and this is the right way to start off a 6-episode series, to get people up to speed and to get you feeling for the character in order to move ahead. Because now we went from this dude's a prick to oh, like immediately in like 40 minutes.
I am glad that you brought up how many episodes this series was going to be. I honestly couldn't remember if we were getting 6 or if we were getting another weird odd number like 9 for WandaVision or whatever the case might have been. But so it is 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. But yeah, I love the world that we immediately get. I definitely agree with you, Indy, in the sense that they did a really great job of explaining everything that was going on. I thought the idea of the introduction to Miss Minute, I thought was great, to kind of see her explain to us how the timeline, the secret timeline works, and what the TVA certainly is all about. It feels as though the Marvel Cinematic Universe had a bit of a Crisis on Infinite Earths before we even knew it actually had one, right? The idea of a multiverse having a war facing off against each other, and then these 3 timekeepers coming in and making them all one timeline. It feels very Crisis to me, if you ask me.
It's very weird what's going on, and the way that they're explaining stuff. At the same time, you're sitting there with Loki in real time trying to figure out what the heck is going on, because the God of Mischief mind is blown.
Absolutely.
He thinks he knows everything, and this feels like a plot that Loki would do that he's caught in.
Right.
It's just amazing watching him come to the realization that there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, there is he does have when he does sort of realize everything that's in front of him. I do wonder, and I did put this in my in my notes here. I do wonder if this is Loki, because he eventually realizes just how powerful this place is, right? Like when he sees like the Infinity Stones in the drawer and he's got the Tesseract and none of it's working, and he starts looking around slowly and he just stops in front of the timeline and he says, this is the real power. You know what I mean? And I think for somebody, again, when you think about who we're talking about here, the idea that it's not a Loki that we've seen through the entire MCU, just up until the Avengers, this is a guy who literally was about to take over the planet. You know what I mean? Like he was on the verge of having what he wanted and wind up getting stripped out. So he's very young in his mind. He hasn't really experienced everything that Loki clearly has. So for him to have to realize that he has absolutely no power in what's happening in his life, I think was a really great revelation. But I also wonder if this gives Loki hope that because this place is incredible power, that maybe he's got to have it for himself. And I am wondering if the clock is ticking, the gears are turning in his head, and if Loki is trying to also maybe figure out a way that he can acquire this as his power. You know what I mean? Because I think once he realizes it, he seems to kind of take a step back and kind of play up the role that maybe Owen Wilson wants him to. And I'm wondering if he's just trying to get Agent Mobius comfortable so that Loki can kind of get his way in there and maybe acquire the power of the TVA for himself, because that is a lot of power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a whole lot of power. And the crazy thing is that who the hell is in charge of the TVA? That's what it is, because everybody there is walking around like they're answering to somebody else. When you see Owen Wilson's character, and God, is his nose getting worse as he ages. But big shots out to that man for not having plastic surgery to fix that, for just dealing with it. But when I saw him,
it's character, you know what I mean? It's character building, bro.
Yeah, but it seems like his character's in charge, but he's definitely not in charge. He seems like he's on equal ground with the lady running around, or maybe he's just in charge of his division and they work in different divisions like you would like a law firm or something like that. It's just interesting. And Loki looks like he's trying to figure out who everybody is. Like he's trying to gauge, if I'm going to take over, who's the person I'm going to take out. You know what I'm saying? Type deal. So the reveals all of the like hidden little cookies that are in this one episode, and just how well even the transition from cartoon to live action, you know what I'm saying, to the cartoon explanation was it gave me Fallout vibes. Like I feel like Loki started off like I was playing Fallout, and I'm getting a little video of what's going on, little
tutorials and stuff by the cartoon. Yeah.
It was just great, even with him walking through the metal detector with the little guy, and they're like, are you a robot? If you're a robot, it's just going to melt you from the inside out. And then him going, him so confused, he's like,
I love it.
What if I am a robot?
It's like it confused him, right? Yeah. I love Tom Hiddleston's, like literally being just thrusted into something that you've never seen in your entire life, like just a whole new world just kind of hitting you. I thought they did a great job of just introducing us to this world, especially the idea of having to take a ticket and go through the damn line, and homeboy didn't have a ticket and he just got like, it was just absolutely hilarious to me. I thought they had some really great humor for this episode.
Or even the dude who had the bomb on the plane. I always forget his name, but
DB Cooper.
DB Cooper studied this in high school. That was like forever ago, so I don't remember it. But to find out, like the way they did the trailer, I love this. The way they did the trailer, you thought that was something he was going to do after the TVA. To find out that was something that friggin' Thor said challenged him to do. You know what I'm saying? For some type of reward or something like that. And the fact that that's what he did, that he's been screwing up the timeline since before we got introduced to Loki.
Right? Like he's crazy. Definitely the God of Mischief for sure. Let's see here. I want to let me see here. We did have some comments here. Tracy, what's up, Tracy? Appreciate you coming through. She says, "I really enjoyed Loki. Glad you did. Really glad that you did this time around, man." And then we've got Nathan in here. Says Loki is about preservation. Remember, he is brilliant. Oh, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think that Loki recognizes the power that the TVA certainly has, and maybe the idea of him going along. Not to say that Loki isn't learning anything about himself. I do think that he is coming to the realization, but there is a part, like he says, there is a self-preservationist. There is an idea that nobody tells me what I can and can't do. And I think the idea of knowing that somebody else has controlled your life, you literally have just watched what your life becomes. I think if anything, this gives him more confidence to go out there and create his own future, create his own, sort of destiny, if you will. So I do think that this is Loki's still trying to be what he is, right? Brilliant as ever. So I kind of agree with you there, Nathan.
Yeah, I definitely get it. I'm wondering, this is where great character development comes in, and I'm glad that they did something like this later in what we know from the character, because if this is something where he went through rapid character growth and all of a sudden he's about saving everybody, we'd be like, all right, that's BS. That was just a plot device. But knowing that he just watched and that we lived through everything he went through and the person that he was by Infinity War, it makes me wonder that him seeing how his life went, watching his life in the Flash, did that change happen in him immediately when he's watching what happened on the screen and seeing what he became, seeing how his brother mourned him, watching his mother die, like having to deal with all these emotions at once. You know what I'm saying? Is he still the same person that we started the episode with, or did we have 10 years of character development in 40 minutes?
In 40 minutes. And I think that's probably maybe what the balance will be for Tom Hiddleston as Loki, maybe for the remainder of this season, is the idea of still having to play that character that is slowly changing, but is still maybe holding on to who he certainly has always been. You know what I mean? Like just a different perspective on his life, but always going to be the God of Mischief, if you will. So at least that's the direction that I'm thinking that they're certainly going. But I agree with you. I thought the idea of just the great character growth for Loki here and just the first episode alone was really great. But I really liked Owen Wilson also in here too. He definitely brings the fact that he has sort of his own detective investigative like storyline that's kind of going on as he's hunting down a very, dangerous variant, which I love the fact that he calls Loki a pussycat compared to who they're actually trying to hunt down and things like that, right? Like just immediately chop Loki's balls off. Why don't you? I thought it was hilarious, but I will say I love the fact that there is sort of a mystery that's still going on in here. And do you have any ideas as to who the suspect could possibly be?
Man, I'm still trying to figure out who the kid was that had the bubble gum. Like that was I've noticed in these shows, nothing goes in randomly. Everything has some type of symbolism, whether it's to throw you off of something. Because if they didn't put stuff like that in there, hence like the stained glass window with the devil on it, right? Because that's what people want to see. So tease that and it totally takes you off of what they're actually doing. So and gets other theories coming up, because people are smart nowadays. They can normally catch on to what's going on if you just play it straight. So you have to throw stuff on there to divert people from what's going on. It's so many different things that could be going on right here that is crazy, because I have like 18 million theories going in my head. My favorite my favorite three are that the variant that is deadly could be Lady Loki.
Yeah, that's the one I'm leaning on right now.
Yeah. Or it could be Loki after it could be the same Loki coming back from the future and doing this to try to fix stuff that happened in the past when he finds out that they were just using him for something. Okay. Because they did drop the thing about the person with the blue face running the thing. We got the announcement of who's playing Kang the Conqueror. You know that Kang the Conqueror is in the Ant-Man movie, and we know that he is supposedly the head of the TVA. So that, which makes me think that he's going to be I don't think we'll see him. You know what I'm saying? One? Yeah, we already saw the head behind the judge thing, and like I said, what we talked about in the group chat, the judge, the name they gave the judge is somebody who Kang is in love with. So that's
Mm,
interesting to me that they, you know what I'm saying, that they
okay.
gave that name to that character.
Okay.
So somebody just totally messed up my mind when they looked and they was like, "Oh, it's a cape. Oh, that person's hands is glowing. Is that Doctor Doom?" Would they say
Where?
talking about the variant that they saw at the end? What if they
Oh, oh.
what if they gender flipped Doctor Doom and made Doctor Doom a female this time? And then I'm like, you were idiots. And then and then I went to sleep and I woke up and I'm like, what if they're right?
What if I mean, listen, man. I mean, we are dealing with the idea of a multiverse here. You know what I mean? I mean, anything's possible, especially the fact that it's a variant from we don't know where exactly, right? So we have no
Right.
idea. I am still leaning. I mean, I feel like Nathan and I are definitely on the same page. I'm definitely leaning Lady Loki. But we certainly who certainly knows. I mean, just the way that this first episode was certainly written, I do feel like there are certainly going to be some twists and turns throughout this entire season that I'm really looking forward to. I still think it's Black Widow that we see in the damn trailer that he's meeting up with. I don't know why, but I still think that's certainly the case. But we'll definitely have to see in regards to that. As far as Kang the Conqueror, I believe they did mention that he wasn't going to go ahead and debut until that upcoming Ant-Man movie. So I don't know exactly when that movie is going to be released. So we definitely have some time away. But I think this is a great opportunity for them to at least introduce us again to the idea of the timekeepers and things like that, letting us understand what the sacred timeline was, what the idea of a nexus is, right? The idea of a creating something outside of what the actual normal timeline certainly is. And they even mentioned the idea of if we have too many nexuses that wind up actually branching off to the main timeline, that we could be headed back to a multiversal war also. So I am wondering if this is somehow building up to something along the lines of the Doctor Strange kind of stuff that we're going to be getting into. I'm wondering if that's what they're referring to.
Sir, I think it's bigger than that. I think it's bigger than Doctor Strange. And I think they let you know what Doctor Strange is going to be about because they wanted you to tie it to that.
Do you think
Because
it's going to be like the next big main sort of
no,
thing that they
I
have event?
what if this is the thing that made the Eternals mobilize? And you know what I'm saying right there, when they started seeing rules like time and stuff being broken
Oh,
and
being
different things
broken.
like that. I think this is when they said that, and Kevin Feige made sure he kept his words, you know what I'm saying, specific when he's saying that Loki is going to affect the entire MCU bigger than any of these other shows that we did. So when I look at it as the upcoming movies and where they're going, each one takes place, let's say, on a different plane, not necessarily a different universe, but space, Earth, you know what I'm saying, and magic. Loki, what he's going through seems like he might be the one thing that affects all three. Where you
Mm,
have Scarlet Witch affecting whatever goes on with the magic realm, you got other stuff affecting what's ever going on in space, and you got whatever's affecting going on Earth. Loki might be the thing that affects all three, that starts spiraling everything so those other things happen. And if that's the case, they are brilliant. They are
I
brilliant with
mean,
the way that they write.
I mean, it is Marvel, right? It is Marvel and Kevin Feige, man. So it wouldn't get past us. But yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all, man.
Yeah, but man, the thing with the stones was one of my favorite scenes. The fact that he picked up the Mind Stone, didn't he? And then he picked up the Time Stone. Understandable why the Time Stone wouldn't work at all within the TVA, but it makes me feel that the TVA itself is in a different dimension
Yeah, I
or
feel
on a
like it's
different
like on
plane.
a different,
Yeah,
completely different plane that
outside
exists outside of the.
outside
Yeah.
of reality. So that's why stones don't work. That's why the Tesseract wouldn't work. But
But I do have a question. Can you take those stones and then go to a different timeline and they're powered and activated?
it has to though they haven't
Like, is this
significantly
is this their way of reintroducing the Infinity Stones into the MCU?
well, the Infinity Stone still exists. Thanos said he couldn't destroy them. He just
No, he destroyed them. That's why
no,
they.
he didn't destroy them. He reduced them to atoms
Oh,
because he
okay.
couldn't destroy them. So somebody like Scarlet Witch is powerful enough to remake the stones. They just don't have anybody at that
But
time who can
no,
redo them.
yeah, no, I definitely get that. I'm just saying, as far as like the easiest way to introduce the Infinity
What
Stones
would
would
be
probably
for
be this
Loki
way,
just to
right?
pop up? Yeah, Loki just
Yeah.
to pop up with
Yeah.
them. Yeah. If they go by the laws of comics, the stones only work in the dimension or whatever that they
That
come
was
from.
from. Okay.
It's
Okay.
just like the Dragon Balls.
I got you.
The Earth Dragon Balls don't work on Namek. So
Okay. Oh
that's the
man,
way that works.
there are a lot of Infinity Stones in here too, man. So who knows where the hell they came from?
Yeah. So what that makes me feel is that they're establishing different realities by showing all those Infinity Stones.
Okay. I
So
like it.
I think they're slowly, you know what I'm saying, doing different things to us that we're not even paying attention to because we're so wrapped up in what's happening with Loki. Because Tom Hiddleston is giving such an incredible performance, we're seeing all these little things happen. And it's not until after you go watch it 2 or 3 times, you notice you're like, hey, hold on. They did that for a reason. They're not just going to do it to be funny, although it was funny. The dude talking about, yeah, we use them as paperweights. You know what I'm saying? It was a hilarious moment, but it could end up being a moment that's bigger than what we think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you. And you bring up the idea that they always do something for a reason. I do want to ask you this question because there is a moment that happens that has some people over on Twitter kind of talking already. The possibility of Peggy Carter popping up in here. Have you seen this photo?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because it was you talk about the idea of like having things on screen for a particular reason, right? The idea that Loki kind of pops up into the middle of this hallway. I mean, granted, he could just be coming across somebody that's bringing somebody in, just to showcase that yeah, he's still in the TVA or whatever the case may be. But people are kind of thinking that the officer and this woman that kind of stepped through, that perhaps that's Peggy Carter herself. I don't really know how I feel about that as of yet. I mean, could it be? Absolutely. I mean, does it make sense? I mean, the only thing I could say, Indy, to this would just be the idea that, because I did even put it in my notes, the idea of like, what about Captain America? Right? Because of the fact that we see at the end of Endgame, he does go back into time. Clearly, they say that the Avengers are not the enemy because I'm assuming, if anything, they've have set the timeline back where it's certainly supposed to go. Steve went and dropped everything off where it's supposed to go. But again, I'm still very much under the impression that Steve stayed in our current reality. Wouldn't that make him sort of like a time variant also?
He's got to be a variant, but I was thinking the same thing. What if he's specifically not an enemy because they're helping the TVA do something? And we don't know about it. What if this is a way to write Captain America, or let's not say Captain America because I don't care what nobody says. Falcon is our Captain America. To write Steve Rogers back into the MCU if they want. And what if it's just they don't know if they're going to use them, but this is their end just in case. Like they don't even know if they're going to do that. It's just that they set that in place so they can go, if we want him to come back, this is how we get him to come back.
By just teasing the idea of Peggy. I mean, who knows? Maybe Peggy is up to something. But I mean, if it's Peggy, it's got to be with Steve Rogers, right? Who knows? It doesn't have to be.
If it's our Peggy.
Oh goddamn! See this multiverse. If it's our Peggy, geez Louise. Okay, now. But I don't know. That's just what people are saying on Twitter. That's something that I think they've been showing the video of this woman coming through. Some people thinking that it's Peggy Carter. I mean, if it is Peggy, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're going to hit us with a Peggy Carter season 4 out of nowhere on Disney Plus. You know what I mean? Maybe Haley winds up getting her series back, or maybe it is part of connected. Maybe it is her connected to a bigger Steve Rogers storyline because of the fact that maybe he is that time variant. Just as a time paradox or whatever. But
could we just get Lady Sif back? Like Jamie Alexander did not deserve just to be erased from the entire MCU.
Yeah, man.
She went and did
Agents of Shield. Yeah, you immediately went out of the universe. That's the problem. She went off no, what are you doing, girl? Get back here. Yeah, she messed that up for herself.
Interesting point though. And this hurt me to the core. Did you notice when they showed him killing Agent Coulson? They never mentioned that he was.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it, Indy. I was like, this is gonna make Indy so damn happy, and they still didn't do it. Like, you had the perfect opportunity.
and didn't even do it.
Dead. No. Maybe he's just that undercover, Indy. You know what I'm saying? Like you mentioned it before. Maybe Coulson is up in space with Nick Fury getting ready for a secret invasion.
Or what if and this is a big if, and
Maybe
people are
they
going
should just add these ideas to the upcoming What If series, by the
they
way.
really should. What if Coulson is one of the ones running the TVA? Because remember, their last 2 seasons was really dealing with them going back in time and jumping around and stuff and doing stuff.
Don't mind
So,
fuck me anymore than these
so
shows
what
aren't
if
him.
Agent Coulson was one of the founders of the TVA?
Yeah, that was Coulson and Kang the Conqueror. Like, yeah, that's just so odd to me.
Hey, Kang probably pulled him in like, hey, what you did was dope, because Coulson technically is a LMD now. He's not even human.
I haven't watched Agents of Shield in forever, man. So
Oh, well, spoilers. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I probably am not going to go back and check it out, but I appreciate it. Real quick shout out though. I was watching this episode and I had no idea that this actress was in the episode. But this is Wunmi Mosaku. I could have completely butchered her name. Wunmi Mosaku, Nigerian British actress. The reason why I bring her up is we talk about the show all the time, Indy, Lovecraft Country. She was actually in Lovecraft Country. I think she played Journey Smollett's sister, that was the singer and that owned the house and things like that. So I love the fact that she's continues to get recognized and opportunities like this to be a part of just a great television, honestly. So it was really cool to kind of see her kind of, I don't want to say following the idea of sci-fi fantasy-esque stuff with Lovecraft Country, but I thought it was pretty cool that she's still playing in this genre a little bit.
Somebody is literally watching all these shows and just plucking the good actors and saying, come play with us. That's honestly what they're doing. They're looking like, hey, we want you. They grabbed Mahershala Ali and was like, look, we're just going to sit you on the bench, but you're Blade. All right, just stay there. And then
don't go nowhere.
Don't go nowhere. And they're just plucking people, and it's great, man. It is great. And I man, they are killing this. They are killing this. It's no, you watched it when you got home, right?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it twice after work.
Okay. I stayed up till 2 a.m.
I don't know how you do it, man.
And had a watch party with 3 other friends. And we really did the little group watch thing on Disney Plus, recorded ourselves watching it.
Nice.
Just so we could see our reactions of what we did, and then our little conversation at the end. We had no idea what was going on by the end of that episode. It wasn't until everybody went to sleep and woke up that we came up with theories. When I went back and I watched that video, we sounded like complete idiots.
Trying to figure everything that went on. Yeah, no, I did have to watch it twice myself though.
Yeah, but it's an amazing, if this show stays on this pace, it could be Legion worthy, because it kind of reminds me of Legion too. With the way it messes with your mind and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Legion to me has been the best television property for comic books or whatever. Nothing to me is better than Legion. Loki in a first episode is already on par with Legion.
Well, at least for me, like I see what you're saying. At least I feel like maybe in episode 1. I haven't finished the first season of Legion though, so I definitely trust your judgment on that. I will say this, the one thing that I did love about this show and what Marvel is certainly doing is we have 3 different seasons, 3 different series here, and they all feel significantly different. Mm-hmm. And nothing feels like it's copy paste and print, if you will. Wanda gave us a different flair. Falcon and Winter Soldier gave us more like that movie sort of cinematic vibe. I mean, not to say that Loki certainly couldn't be up there, but they're all just there. They continue to experiment with these different genres and different ways of trying to tell their stories. And I think that's what continues to separate Marvel, the fact that they've earned that right to kind of escape just that regular comic book genre and really create some incredible storytelling. And to get somebody like a Michael Waldron who comes from that mindset and that world of Rick and Morty, like you can kind of feel those vibes creeping into this series when it comes to the MCU and just some of the outrageous things that they wind up doing in here. Just the bold takes of creating a different world, if you will.
Even the influence from the council of Rick's episode when he has to like hunt down the other Rick and kill him. Like he just went, you know what? This worked for Rick and Morty. Let's just bring this over here and just make it Loki do the same exact thing. But but it's just as interesting, even though I feel like I'm watching the same exact plot from that Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah, I think it helps because it is that multiversal sort of traveling the timeline type of aspect that really works for it, you know?
Yeah,
That same type
definitely.
of storytelling.
You couldn't do it with another character. Like if this was any other character, I don't. To be honest with you, this specific storyline and what they're going now wouldn't even work with Doctor Strange, because I'm thinking about who could actually time travel. Loki is the perfect person because you're taking him out of his normal, putting him into something, but he's the character that can actually adapt to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting, the journey that they take us on, man. And it's crazy that we get the 6th episode on the 7th of July, and then that Friday we get Black Widow, and
Nice.
Everybody is going to the theater to see what the hell Loki just did to Black Widow. That's going to be in everybody's head.
You think that's going to be in the second episode of Loki? What if they just perfectly time that to where the second episode of Loki does deal with Natasha in some way, and then we wind up getting that it winds up having that Black Widow movie. That would be pretty trippy if he wind up messing around. Like, what if she actually survives at the end? What if he saves her?
What if she never died?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if he saves her and she actually comes back? That's crazy. What? What? Do you think that? What?
Yeah.
Yo, is there a chance that Scarlett Johansson returns as Black Widow?
That would be crazy, dude. That would be nuts.
We'll see what happens.
What if the same person as Taskmaster is the variant that he's chasing right now? It's
a variant of Natasha herself.
Yeah. What if I know I'm throwing darts and just trying to see what sticks, but because of this show, you can just you can hit a bullseye from anywhere with your eyes closed.
Yeah, we're just creating multiverses right now. We're just creating different timelines.
Yeah. I want that what if now so bad, because now I'm thinking that everything that's happening what if could actually happen because of Loki.
I will say this. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to, again, I love what they established in this first episode, the idea of that really our life has kind of been just put on its own path for us. We're just kind of living out the events that have kind of already been preset for us. And I love the fact that, especially when you tell somebody like a character like Loki that he's not in control of anything, that's the only thing that he is looking for when it comes to power and controlling things. You know, the fact that he's got to deal with that reality, I think, is a really brilliant storyline for somebody like Loki. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out.
Destiny is a big thing, it seems like, that has been with the Asgardians. Like, it just
true, absolutely. It's like one of their most important things, right? That they want to establish for themselves, what their destiny and their legacy is certainly going to be like. And I did find it interesting. Damn it, I lost it, Indy. I lost it.
Sorry.
That's okay. Continue with what you were saying.
But no, the crazy thing is that the smoke screen of free will, your free will is just the choice that you're going to make to get to the point that's already presented in front of you. So you can get to that point, but no matter which way, you just have to choose the route you're going to go in order to get to a fixed point. That's like what they would tell them. Like, it don't matter what you did, you were going to end up here, regardless.
And I think what's even crazier is they almost kind of point out that point that you get to in your life is honestly meant to just help put the Avengers together, right? Like that all the pain and suffering that you've caused and things like that is just that we wanted you to help build other people up, to go ahead and create the Avengers so that they can do all the right things. That's crazy to think about it. And Nathan brought up a good point, right? The idea of just free will
is an illusion.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion. Crazy. So I definitely do believe that Loki is going through some things, but I still also think Loki certainly has a plan. You know what I mean?
So what if Loki just explained to us why the Eternals didn't get involved, because they knew the Avengers were going to win?
I mean, maybe. Maybe. I don't know how the Eternals are, if they're even connected. I mean, what if they're not connected to the TVA? Like, what if they're too, like the idea and the concept of Celestials and how this universe works? What if all that's TVA also?
It's nuts, man. It's
That's
nuts to
crazy.
think. It's nuts to think if the TVA is actually that powerful, which I'm pretty sure you'll figure out that they're not that powerful. That they could. They just. I think maybe they just have access to the timeline and they can look and see everything that's going to happen because that's what supposedly when you're talking about Kang the Conqueror, he traveled to the end of time. He knows everything that happens with the flow of time and he knows everything that's supposed to happen. And that's his thing is going back and fixing stuff or changing events to do certain things. So it's going to be interesting to see if, and I think this is going to be the point of Loki is if he can actually alter his fate. Like
Mm.
there's something he can do to change what happened. And that's what this is going to be about.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I think this is him trying to recapture, making a life for himself again. You know, proving the idea that nobody controls him, that he creates his own life, if you will. So I'm really excited, man. I'm really eager to see where this rabbit hole goes because I think like just based off of the first episode alone, they're definitely not afraid to go down those rabbit holes and go deep. So I think this is going to be just a trippy season that's going to have some great character development, some great moments that I think are going to connect us. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we get some great sort of cameos that we weren't expecting either from some past some MCU characters too.
Definitely. Because if you're going to show him die, right? And even though that was the end of this film, why wouldn't you tell him that your brother ended up defeating Thanos? You know what I'm saying? Like they avenged your death. Why would you tell him this though? It's because you wanted him to feel a certain way. You made sure you fixated on his mother's death because that was going to affect him. You made sure that you fixated on him dying because that was going to affect him, but you never showed him that his death is what spawned Thor into being, you know what I'm saying, who he is now and avenging his death. So his death actually had meaning. You basically showed him the only meaning his death had, only meaning he had, period, was making sure that the good guys went and did what they were supposed to do. So that's interesting what they're
yeah, I think
showing
it's
them.
definitely push and pull, right? I think both people are certainly trying to work each other, honestly. You know, not just Loki, but definitely Agent Mobius is trying to pull some strings also as well.
Yeah, or maybe that's Mobius thing. Maybe like AJ just said, he wants Kang to awaken. So everything he's doing is trying to get Kang to come in.
Oh, you
You
think
know what I'm saying?
Mobius is like villain, like pulling like some bad vibe strings or what?
I think it might depend on how you look at it. He could be somebody who wants something to come and get fixed. Maybe he wants something in his life fixed. You know what I'm saying? And he's going by means of the wrong way of doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because that's the only way. It's so many different ways you can play this from going from old television and comics and stuff to rewatched and following plot lines and knowing that they actually watch every friggin' movie ever, watch and they pull inspiration from everywhere. It makes you think of everything in order to try to figure out, you know what I'm saying, what's influencing them to make the changes that they're making. Because we know for a fact it's not always the comics.
Yeah, well, I will say, you know, one thing that did surprise me was the TVA because I wasn't quite sure exactly how much of an influence they had in the comic book world themselves. But yeah, the TVA is actually pulled directly from the comic books. I think what I read was that they were introduced in Thor back in the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was like 1986. So the idea that they were able to even take that comic book concept and build it up into the world that they wind up having and making it into live action. I mean, talk about just deep diving for just great content out of the comic books to utilize in the real world. I thought it was pretty awesome.
This could be how they bring Killmonger back to life. They could do so much stuff with what they're getting ready to do with other shows and stuff they got coming up. It just makes you go and look at the movie slate and the TV slate and then try to guess how this is going to affect everything that's coming up.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Marvel's always lived with the concept of it's all connected, with the exception of agents. But other than that, everything it's been great, man. It's been great.
Watch that be the biggest tease, and that's the big payoff at the end of all of this is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. becomes canon.
my fingers are crossed for you guys. My fingers are crossed for you guys. I'm hoping that Secret Invasion changes that for you guys.
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's see what happens. But I'm
tech videos in here just saying just saying what's up. I'm more of a CW Arrowverse guy. Marvel has better films except for Fantastic Four.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you now. As of the birth of WandaVision, Marvel might have better television shows, especially right now. The way everything just connects into everything else is what DC would actually want.
Well, I will say, I mean, like for me, I feel like maybe some of the shows that DC has, maybe on like HBO Max, might be
Yeah.
able to rival some of what Disney Plus is currently doing. But yeah, I'm talking about Marvel stepping up its game ever since it wind up kind of cutting out its slate of, freeform TV shows, Hulu original TV shows. Right, they're really putting that production value and that effort, really behind these shows. So.
AJ says, going back to the Finny stones in the drawer, maybe Steve didn't return them to their spot and the TVA found them now. Nah, he returned to the spot. There was multiple versions of each stone in that drawer. So I think
I felt like there were like 12 in there or something like that. Like,
yeah, there was multiple it was like 3 time stones, like 3 mind stones. So my thing is, I think they
it could be, but yeah, I agree with Andy.
I think they just got extra stones from different timelines and different stuff like that. Or maybe they got stuff where they can put them in case something doesn't go right. Like they got just extra stuff. So
if Marvel isn't making Infinity Stone paperweights, get on that. Get on that now.
Yeah, that we'll see that at the Disney store like next week.
Yeah, the Avengers Academy or whatever they wind up creating over there.
Yeah,
over at Disneyland. So yeah,
definitely.
All right, guys. I think other than that, any last words in regards to the series, to episode 1, Indy?
Nah, just keep your eyes open and pay close attention to what's going on, because not only did he say the words of the word illusion was dropped a lot, the word nightmare was dropped a lot as well.
Oh, I did hear nightmare once or twice.
Yeah, so we all know Nightmare loves to do illusions. So I mean, that could just be their way of hinting what's to come to the future. It doesn't have to have anything to do with this show in general.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to, like you said, that stained glass window with the devil on it and things like that. So we'll see. Yeah. But thanks for the appreciation, AJ. Thank you very much for that comment. But Indy, if people want to go ahead and reach out to you on social media, where can they find you, sir?
First and foremost, you can find me right here at the A+ Here Report channel. You know what I'm saying? Doing news and reviews for all your geek and nerd pop culture. But other than that, you can catch me at Nerd Mix Alpha everywhere else. And you can search my music on all streaming platforms by searching Indy Uchiha.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming through, man. And guys, we're more than likely will certainly be here every Wednesday for you guys. We'll be aiming for 8 p.m. Central Time for your Loki reviews. If it's not myself, maybe it'll be Indy. Maybe Stuart will jump in on the conversation if we certainly can. But guys, definitely go ahead. And again, if you're looking for a place or a home for your Loki reviews, smash that subscribe button along with that bell notification and hit that thumbs up. That big like button certainly does go a long way. If you want to follow us on social media, you can do so right up here at A+ Opinions. Very active over on Twitter along with our main Facebook page. You can certainly go ahead and catch us over on Instagram as well as Twitch for you gamers out there as well. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for us. So see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. See you guys later.